Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my YouTube channel. Today, we'll be discussing all things syndication. But first, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and if you enjoy my content, press the notification button so you'll be the first to know when I drop the next video. So, today we'll be discussing syndications, and the components we'll be discussing are: what is a syndication? Who is involved in a syndication? What are the responsibilities of the general partnership? The responsibilities of the limited partnership? What the risks are in a syndication, as well as the benefits? And lastly, who is eligible to invest? So, starting off with the basics, what's a syndication? Basically, a syndication is when a group of investors pool their money together in order to buy an asset. Generally, they buy real estate that cash flows, like apartments, like mobile homes, self-storage facilities, and even other industrial buildings. And the purpose of that is so that they have cash flow coming in throughout the holding period of the property as they execute the investment plan. So, who's involved in a syndication? Well, you generally have your general partners, also known as the sponsors of the deal, and then you have limited partners who are passive investors in the deal. And the responsibilities of the general partner are wide in range. It starts with underwriting the property, completing due diligence, arranging the financing in order to take down the deal, negotiating with the seller if there are any things to discuss regarding the price or the length of the contract period, building a business plan, because you definitely do not want to buy a commercial asset without a plan in place, especially if you're bringing on passive investors. And then once the property is taken ownership of, the general partner, aka sponsorship group, is responsible for managing the day-to-day responsibilities of the property, as well as executing the proposed business plan to the investors. Once the business plan is complete, the sponsors decide when and if they plan on selling the property or possibly refinancing the property. And that is a recapitalization event that brings returns both to the sponsorship group as well as the limited partners. So what are the responsibilities of the limited partners? Well, they're limited. And they basically culminate around having capital ready for when the general partnership group has completed all of their purchase responsibilities and are getting ready to close on a deal. So a limited partner's primary responsibility is to have capital ready to take down the deal. Afterwards, they are tasked with keeping up with the periodic updates that are sent out to them by the general partnership group, as well as keeping their own personal teams, including their financial planners, investment managers, and more importantly, CPAs and tax attorneys involved to know exactly when and how to file the information that is given to them by the general partnership group. The risks of investing in a syndication are generally mirroring the risks of investing in any other real estate deal. And that's primarily economic risks. As property value fluctuates, if your property value is less than what you purchased it for during a time where you have to recapitalize, then you're at risk of losing your equity. Generally, in a real estate syndication, that does not happen because the sponsors of the deal are very experienced and understand that risk, that economic risk that's in place, and make sure they mitigate that on a front end with longer term debt or buying the asset well below the value that the market thinks it is. Another risk for limited partners as well as general partners is the lack of liquidity. Real estate is a very illiquid asset, so you should never invest capital that you're going to need in the short term. Now, moving on, what are the benefits of investing in a syndication? Well, for limited partners, the passivity and the hassle-free nature of the income they receive is a huge benefit. It's effectively investing in real estate without having to deal with the day-to-day responsibilities of dealing with tenants, dealing with property renovations, dealing with capital expenditures, and dealing with all of the day-to-day responsibilities of investing and managing real estate. The next benefit are the tax benefits that come with real assets. Depreciation is a strong benefit to investors because it is a paper loss against investment gains, which allows them to minimize the amount of taxes paid. Appreciation is also a major benefit of investing in a syndication. Similar to many other assets, real estate increases in value over time. So as long as the group holds onto the property for a meaningful amount of time, they should expect to see appreciation in the value of the asset. Another benefit is control. Unlike REITs, which are publicly traded stocks that invest in real estate, when you invest in a syndication, you have control over the property you invest in. You can invest in property in a specific asset class, in a specific geographical location. You have total control. Whereas with REITs, you invest in the company that's investing in assets, and you're leaving it up to them to choose the correct asset to invest in. Similar to the previous, diversification is a great benefit because, like I said before, you're able to spread your capital across different asset classes and different geographies. And that gives you the diversification across different local economies and strengthens your investment profile. So lastly, who is eligible to invest in syndications? Well, generally, accredited and sophisticated investors are the targets for syndication sponsors because under the eyes of the SEC, they are, willing and able to invest large sums of money in these syndications that tend to be illiquid and are a little more complicated than your stocks and bonds investing or 401k investing that you've done before. Now, with that said, there are a special class of syndications that are available to those that are not yet accredited and or sophisticated. So be sure to reach out to learn a little bit more about that. With that said, that's today's video. Check out this other video that tells you a little bit more about the 4 ways you earn capital investing in real estate.